All right, here we are in the studio with Arma on the official British Asian music chart. Let's give him a round of applause.
That's good, that's good.
Very exciting. We finally made it happen.
Finally made it happen. It took a while to get a song back into the charts, but hey, it's the right time for everything.
But you know what? 2 tracks that made it into the official British Asian music chart. You're doing extremely well. Tell us a little bit about what's been happening in your life. What's been going on? Because you've been a busy guy over the last year or two. Tell us a little bit more about, your music and your journey so far.
I've just been trying to keep growing, keep going and keep growing. That's my motto right now. And to be honest, as a lot of people know, I'm a director as well. I create visuals as well, not just for myself. So all of my own music videos, directed and edited all of them. But over the last year, I've been trying to kind of build on that filmmaking side of things as well. So I've been working with a lot of international artists, filming their music videos. A lot of them are out. For example, Roach Killer and Art of Lahar, Deep Junda's R, which went viral everywhere. We've got another one coming with all of them. We've got a lot more happening over Pakistan, India sides as well, and Canada as well. So just that really, trying to keep growing on that side of things. And as Arma music as well, got a lot of stuff been happening. Been working on a lot of things over the last year that's yet to come out. So it's been a pretty exciting year, and it was a perfect way to end the year and start 2026 by entering the charts. So just blessed, that's all I can say really.
Jeez, an all-rounder. Look at that. Smashed it, man. It's only January. Watch out. It's only January. Let's talk about this track though, because obviously you've just mentioned directing and filming. Of course, you directed the music video for this track, Daaku. So why don't you tell us a little bit more about this track and how it came about?
So Daaku is a very personal track for myself. As you can tell from the lyrics, there's a lot of meaning behind this song. I've grown up with my brothers kind of raising me in a way where they've taught me that you don't really focus on someone else's plate. You don't worry about if someone else's grass is any greener than yours, that kind of thing. So I've been brought up with that mentality. So one thing I noticed quite a lot last year was I was on the receiving end of a lot of people kind of focusing on my plate, so to say.
Mm-hmm.
Me kind of dealing with all of those things and trying to keep going was a task in itself. So I was quite proud of the fact that, my brothers raised me in that way where I was trying to keep focusing on myself. So this line just came into my head. I'm cutting off all the snakes so I can climb up the ladder. I'll let them take the plate so I can focus on the whole platter.
Mm-hmm. And
just based off of that, Durandar obviously came out and the track Jogi went viral all over again. And that was a childhood anthem of myself, my brothers. So I thought, you know what, I kind of want to sample that song in my own way, in my own style. I linked up with the producer CJ, big up to CJ from Birmingham. That was a long overdue collab as well. He hit me up, we was in the studio, and I just said to him, bro, I've got this one line, and I want to make a whole track out of it, and that's how it all came about, and the rest is history.
You seem like a little bit of a perfectionist, to be fair. I mean, somebody who's kind of, like I said, an all-rounder, who's filming, who's directing, who knows exactly what they want to do with their music, who they want to collaborate with, where they want to take their music. What have you learned along the way? Because obviously when you're in control of your music from every single angle, there must be some moments where you think, hang on, you know what, let me switch this up, let me change this. So what have you learned along the way?
100%, you have to be a perfectionist to some extent, of course, but I think one thing I have learned is that, as they say, jack of all trades, master of none. Meet yourself halfway. You can never be perfect. Perfect doesn't exist in my mentality. I just feel like you can just try and attempt to be the best version of yourself. As long as you know you've done 100%. To somebody else, your 100% might be there, 110%, if that kind of makes sense. 100%. So for me, all that matters is I need to know that I at least attempted with my full heart, and that's my 100%.
For sure. And let's talk about these collaborations then, because, start the interview, my head's spinning already. You're like, I've got this coming out, I've got this going on, I've got this going on. So how do you go about, choosing your collaborations and who you want to work with?
So I'm quite selective in the sense of the vibe needs to be right for me. It's not about views, it's not about streams. I don't really look at what streams an artist or producer has. It's just a case of how we connect, how our energies connect. Mm-hmm. So CJ and me, CJ actually followed me on Instagram after my first ever release, Tujame, in 2020. So since then, we've had each other on Instagram. So that's over 5 years ago now. And we just talked. We've never really met in person. A few times at Milars and stuff, and it was all good vibes. So I always liked his energy. I liked the fact that he supported me from my first release, which a lot of artists, a lot of producers didn't notice me back then. So I knew that when the time comes, it kind of needs to happen. And we just happened to run into each other at a friend's studio. That's how the conversation started. But even going forward, to answer your question, there's a lot of collaborations happening this year. It's a little bit early to start, revealing everything.
No,
but
it's never too early.
what I would like to announce is my next release is coming very soon with Farouk got audio, who's one of my favorite producers right now in the UK, coming out of the UK. So it's only right that me and him get something in. So me and Farouk have a big track coming out. That'll be my next release. It's probably looking like a March, April release right now. But what I can promise you is you're gonna hear Arma that you've never heard before on that track.
Amazing. And obviously, you know what, I've got to respect it because you really are blending different sounds, different cultures. You've worked with so many different artists, but you kind of put your own kind of stamp on every single track that you worked on. Let's go back to obviously the first track that made it into the official British Asian music chart, collaborating with Jaykae as well. So it's been years, I guess. He hadn't released music, and here you are working with him on that. To go into working with the likes of like Roach Killer or, you know, a track produced by CJ. Like, what's your thought process when it comes to all of this?
You have to kind of cater to different audiences at the same time, because you have to remember I come from a backdrop where I have that British German influence as well on my music. I've grown up listening to English rap as well as Bollywood. So in that sense, where I consider myself a British Asian artist, that's two pockets, that's two different cultures I would like to think I have to cater to. So when I made a song like Animal, which was actually my first song with an almost entirely Punjabi verse, I thought, okay, I'm kind of feeding the Punjabi side of this tune right now. So in order to feed the British side of it, I want to kind of bring someone that can keep that balance, but they're Asian at the same time. And no one can do that better than Jaykae, in my opinion. He's a GOAT for the UK and Birmingham, West Midlands scene. And I was right, because he came and showed it. And, you know, that song was one for the history books. So for me personally, I feel like there's always going to be two sides to Arma. There's a British side, there's the Asian side. And you have to feed both if you want both to grow at the same time.
I love that. I'm very excited as well for what's to come, because now that you're teasing us with all these other collaborations, you sure you don't want to tell us about anybody else you're working with now?
Well, me and Jaykae are definitely going to do something again. We've been on the phone over the last week right now. But we just want to make sure that it's going to be 10 times bigger than Animal if we do it. But yeah, definitely I like to say, you know, fingers crossed you can expect another Arma and Jaykae collab 2026.
I'm looking forward to it. There's something that you said actually a few moments ago, which was very interesting, that, you know, when you make music, you kind of focused on the chemistry and obviously the artists that you want to work with and the kind of music rather than the streams and downloads. But it's a big deal making it into a chart like this. This is like the first time in history that we're seeing a chart that's dedicated to British Asian music, right? We've obviously seen the Asian music chart, which represents, you know, South Asian talent all over the world, from Canada and America. But I guess we're in like a scene now where people are looking at what's happening here in the UK. How does it feel for you being an artist that's entered that chart?
Feels amazing. It's super empowering to see that, you know, something that wasn't there originally is now here in full force. And it's also motivational for artists such as myself, because this track in particular, Daaku, for example, it charted at number 38 in the global Asian charts. So for me to chart at 38, it's a big deal in itself in that realm, but to know that I've charted at number 12 in a chart such as this, it's a very big deal, because that's a flex. You know, that's something that all artists strive for, to chart in such a high number position. And it wouldn't be possible if we didn't have a chart such as this, you know, to our advantage. And another thing I would like to say is I charted 2 years ago, like you just said, with Animal, that hit number 8. But since then, I haven't made the chart again. I've released a number of songs in the last year, a lot of hits as well. You know, I've grown a lot of my streaming numbers, a lot of my TikTok numbers, but nothing was hitting the charts. And deep down, obviously, as an artist, you don't really make music for charts, or, you know, that shouldn't be your entire goal. That's, of course, a goal for all artists. This particular track, and this is what I would like any artist listening to this to take from it, is the feeling was right. And I didn't really entirely make it. I didn't focus on the streams or this or that. It was just purely, I wanted to make a good song that actually just does well and captures the essence of my 2025. And it just worked. It charted after 2 years. And I'm here thinking, you know what? The video wasn't like an Animal. The video wasn't, you know, it was just made from the heart. And sometimes I feel like you kind of get lost in, you're like, this song could work on TikTok. This song could work on this could get me into the charts. But sometimes you forget to then make the kind of music that initially charted you in the first place. So what I kind of learned from this whole process, and like you said, the fruit of the labor coming in and this song charting, is that you can always do it again. You should never really feel like, oh, I've released 5 songs between now and Animal and they're not working, because at the end of the day, you have to remind yourself, you're still the person who charted in the first place.
Right.
I'm still the guy who made Animal. So it can always happen again. You just have to try, and you have to try with your heart. That's all it is.
You know what? Preach, man. 100%. I'm so excited for this year and the kind of music that you're bringing and the energy that you're bringing as well. And obviously before we introduce the track, I do want to talk about performance-wise as well, because I think the last few times I've seen you at some Mila or some event or some festival. And it just goes to show you are a grafter. You really are. Like every single time I've seen you, you're connecting with people, you're networking, you're showing up at all these events, you're performing to your fans. What does performing in front of your fans mean to you? Because as well as obviously getting the downloads and the streams and people listening to your music, it's nice to perform in front of the people that are actually buying your music, right?
Definitely, that's one of the most special feelings actually. Being an artist, growing, is learning that, getting 1 million views is one thing, but even having 500 people, 1,000 people in front of you listening to your songs and vibing with you or singing your lyrics. When you look into the crowd and you can see a girl or a guy lip syncing to your lyrics, you feel like, yo, that I wrote that. You know what I'm saying? Like that kind of rewarding feeling is that can't be replicated. So for me personally, I feel like me performing is me feeding into the crowd, feeding my own energy, and I just appreciate all the audiences that always travel to come and see me, and it just makes you want to keep doing it more and more. It's like, you know what, I want to gift you guys something new, because you're gonna get bored of, if you're gonna keep singing Arjamahi or Animal. Like I want to keep giving you guys new stuff. And if it doesn't work, cool. Let me go make something that you will like next time. Because you kind of, every time you see the energy on stage, that doesn't lie. That kind of energy doesn't lie. Streams, all of that sort of thing is one thing, but seeing the energy from a crowd in front of you, that's a whole different experience.
Amazing. Let's bring it back to the present moment then. Do you want to introduce your track?
Yeah, man. Well, here we are. Daaku's officially made it into the official British Asian music charts. It feels good to finally say that again. I appreciate everybody that streamed this song, that bought this song. So the thing that, you're all showing this song that much love, I can never imagine it. So all I want to do is keep bringing you guys the fire this year. Big shout out to my producer CJ on this one. Big shout out to the whole team behind this visual, behind this track. Daaku by Arma Music, out here right now. Keep running it up, keep streaming it up. And we've got a lot more coming for you 2026.
Yeah, man. Arma on the official British Asian Music Chart.